welcome back. Well, many people are off of school and work today to celebrate the life of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And yesterday, the city hosted a big birthday party that highlights youth who interpreted Dr. King's work through art, speech, and writing.
And here today to share a part of her essay is Pasua Chang. She is from the Hmong American Peace Academy. And Paul Matthews is here too. He's president and CEO of the Marcus Center. We're excited to have both of them there. Congratulations to you on your win. You had a big celebration yesterday. How was it?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. We had over 5,000 students participating in these contests.
That's amazing. So
and
they
in the
submit work.
They submit work, and it's speech, writing, and art. And in the writing contest alone, and we're going to hear some of this great stuff today, there were over 4,000 students who submitted work. So that's really inspiring, because that means that here's at least a generation or two removed from when Dr. King died. They're still very inspired by his leadership and his words.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you hear about the contest?
My teacher told us about it.
Yeah. What inspired you to want to write about it?
Oh, I really didn't know what to write about, but then, like, I remember seeing people, and they'd always talk about how other people are, like, so fake and stuff like that. So I'm just like, what about you, you know? You know, you can't always just look at somebody else. You have to look at yourself.
It's true. You kind of have to hold that mirror up and be the change you want to be, things like that, you know, and really make sure that you're doing those things. The speech, the art, there's the writing, you know, how do you display all these works? Is this something that everybody got to see, most of it, or how did it work? Well,
the winners of the speech contest speak, and they're on stage, and I've got to tell you, those of us who do public speaking in one form or another in our jobs, you just are blown away by the talent when you see the speakers on stage. And the writing, of course, the Journal Sentinel has a special supplement on Sunday. They get to read it. Everything's online for people to read. The art is displayed. And of course, there's a performing arts tribute. So we have about a half a dozen different youth performing arts groups who perform throughout the day as well.
It's wonderful, and I want to make sure I have this year's theme right. It's we have a great deal of positive work to do. And I love just the fact that the word positive is in there, because it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things we need to overcome. And there's a lot of struggle, and there's still racism and things like that. But the fact that there's this positive message, I think, is wonderful. And how did you take that theme and kind of decide to write about it in your piece?
I don't know, but like what I said earlier, you know, it starts with us, so we have to change and be positive first.
Sort of like we all have a responsibility in that. I think it's wonderful.
Do you think you kind of grew as a student through writing and learning about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah, I think I did.
And this includes kids of all ages, right?
It does. It includes kids of all ages, and it's inspiring for us as adults, and to go away from the event, not just to remember Dr. King and celebrate his legacy, but to go away with some faith and some hope in the future, because these young people really do inspire us as adults.
Well, we should be proud, I think, to live here in the city of Milwaukee, because we're one of only, I think, 2 cities that have year after year consecutively celebrated the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
31st anniversary,
31st anniversary, that's right. 31 years, second only to Atlanta, where he's from his home.
It's amazing.
It is really impressive, and I think, you know, people kind of look at the reflection of, you know, all the ethnic and cultural backgrounds that kind of come together at this event or this time of year. You know, for you, what are you most proud of about the event here in Milwaukee?
Other than the fact that it's been 31 years, it's because it's universal in the sense that what Dr. King was about and what he wrote about and what his activities were really about a message that was universal. So when we bring people together, when we look out in the audience and we see what's on stage, it's representing all of Milwaukee. So it's a very diverse gathering of different cultures. And that is what's really significant to us at the Marcus Center.
I think it's wonderful that you reflect so many different cultural and racial backgrounds, and the diversity, I think, of it is what brings people back year after year for this wonderful celebration. And as the audience got to experience yesterday some of this wonderful writing, we asked you to read a portion of what you wrote, and it starts with us is the name of it. So why don't you go ahead and read some of what you have for us?
So, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We have a great deal of positive work to do." When I first heard this phrase from my teacher, I thought about the injustices of life. I realized something. There are more than just inequalities that we had to work on. Before we help others, we must help ourselves. We literally do have a great deal of positive work to do. The futures of urban Milwaukee kids are challenged. I've seen teens who drink, do drugs, skip school. All they care about is having name brand shoes, clothes, and smartphones. They dream about having these little things to show off, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would have wanted more than this for us. People interpret the phrase, "you only live once," to mean that you should forget life struggles and just have fun. It's true you only live once, but live it morally. Live it so that you won't have any regrets. We are fools for attention, and most fail to recognize that our actions only make a turn for the worse. We need to change our habits. The first step to making a change starts with us, our attitudes. We need to be optimistic. We need to demand one another to seek positivity. We are something. We're more than what others see us as. We are what we work for.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for reading it for us. That was absolutely great, and we want to give people information so that they can join the celebration next year as well. And there's so many kids who entered this contest. I think it's wonderful. Thank you again for reading it. So the 32nd annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration will be happening next year, 2016, on January 17th. It's at the Marcus Center for the Performing Arts. It's free. It's open to the public, and you can find out all about the great work that they do there by visiting the marcuscentered.org, a wonderful organization, as well as the Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation. And it's so great to have both of you here.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Appreciate